to go to a meeting. I think the app.
Hello, I'm
Yeah.
your host Eric. I'm the host talking with famous people, and I have a brand new guest here, somebody by the name of Necro, famous person
Yep.
Necro, and he has just told me that yes, he'd be willing to be typed, and as usual, I like to nix any possible small talk beforehand because I don't want to get clues ahead of time that would be cheating. You see, I'm trying to guess what your type is. So okay, let me start with some basic questions here. First of all, which of these do you think better describes you? That you don't need to worry about your own feelings so much. You're not fussy. You're not going to have a problem. But you're worried about those people over there. They might get fussy, so you're worried to make sure that they're doing okay. Or do you think that, look, those people can take care of their own feelings. I'm worried about how I feel about this and how they're making me feel. Which of those is more like you?
The second. I think more about myself than other people's feelings.
Okay, cool. If you were in a situation where you were a member of a group of 6 people, there's 3 guys and 3 girls. They're all approximately your age, however old that is. Now, there approaches you an older, however old you are, older by 10 or 15 years, hobo-looking fellow who's got dirty clothes and a bag of stuff and, bad teeth and a big scraggly beard and all that sort of stuff. And he approaches, and he's drunk as well. And he approaches and he starts harassing one of the girls in the group, and he says, "You're pretty, you should come with me, okay? Now, the other guys in the group don't do anything. The girls are saying, "You go away," but the guy is not listening to the other girls, and he's talking to Barbara. What do you do?
I don't know, because in that situation, I would act more impulsively, right? I would use the reptilian part of the brain instead of the neocortex that I'm using now. So, I can't know what I was going to do in that situation because I would act defensively. I would do something about it because it was necessary, but I can't know it now because I'm in a different...
So then what we can conclude is that in the test-taking context, you will deconstruct the question in such a fashion as to...
I would try to do the more rational action, yes. But I don't know if I could because I'm not presented with that situations often, so I would be impractical there. But yeah, I would try to think.
What's more important, means or ends?
Ends. Yes, ends.
Okay,
Definitely.
so to what extent are means justified by ends? If I say, well, look, this is a really good outcome, but it requires me to chop off your foot, is that okay?
What's a really good outcome?
Well, according to me, it's going to feed 50 African families who are currently starving.
Who would have the option for that?
There's a rich person who said he's put a challenge grant out. Okay, there's a challenge grant for public radio. Okay, and it says if you can get Necro to cut off his foot, and I want it as a collector's item, I will contribute 50,000 tons of food to this African village, and I will also contribute $1,000 to the public radio campaign.
I wouldn't do that because it doesn't impact me. If it was, for example, I would cut my foot, but it would grant me something because the 50 African kids, I don't care about them. I'm not related to them. They don't directly affect me, right? So why would I cut my foot if I was not gonna? But if
what if you had to cut off somebody else's foot? They didn't want it to be cut off, but you wouldn't be legally punished at all.
Yeah, I couldn't legally do that. But if I was the government or something, and in the same country, not in Africa, you had one person, and then you had 50 kids, and then if you could. No, I don't think it's no, I think it's more valuable the 1 foot, then the foot.
Okay. Well, I think the problem, of course, is that we don't typically evaluate those things in a vacuum. And if you had that as a general principle that you could force people to chop off their feet, then
Yeah,
it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work as a general principle, right? So okay, let's go back to more traditional typing questions. You're obviously very knowledgeable about this, so you obviously know what type you are, and I will be trying to guess
I kinda know,
correctly.
but I have a lot of questions about this system, the typing system.
I would love to answer them, but can I ask just? I'm going to try to do a quick typing
Sure.
interview.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you feel as though you have? Do you leave behind or lose small objects a lot? Like you leave your house and you realize, oh shit, I left my whatever behind.
Do I forget about? Yes, I
Okay.
forget about a lot of stuff. I mean,
Okay.
not just physical objects, but a lot of stuff in general. Like I forgot. I don't remember what I ate at lunch, for example.
Okay.
Like
Well, that
5
makes you
hours
an
ago.
N for sure, I would say.
Yeah.
So you're some kind of an N. Do you personally feel as though when you go out and you've been having a good time and hanging out with a lot of people, that you're more likely to be somebody who says, "Okay, I'm going to leave on the earlier side," or are you somebody who's like, "Oh, you guys are all leaving"? Which of those is more like you?
What?
So like
Repeat?
you're going out at night, or let's say for a good time. You're with a group of people, and you're all enjoying yourselves. Some person in the party on the earlier side says, "This has been a lot of fun, but I'm wore out. That's all I can take," and goes home. Some person at the end of the party goes, "Oh, you guys are all leaving. I'm ready for more." Which one of those are you more like?
I think the second one, and there's an explanation. I would, if I go to a party, like if I'm already investing myself in going to to a party, like I want to enjoy it fully, right? I don't want to waste my time and go early, because then it's like I would stay late, but not perhaps for the same reasons as the person.
Okay.
I would stay late because if I'm going to invest the night already, I might as well.
But do you like going to parties, or is it a rare occasion?
Not much. Like on summer, kinda, but I don't like.
You don't seek them out as a regular thing. Okay. Do you think you're better at singing songs or drawing pictures? No matter how good or bad you might think you are at
Singing
either of them.
songs or what?
Or drawing
Or what?
pictures. Drawing pictures.
Drawing.
Okay.
Yeah, drawing.
Do you feel you effectively know whether somebody's being socially graceful or awkward?
Okay. What?
Do you think socially graceful or socially awkward? Socially awkward
What's
means
the socially graceful?
socially
I know
graceful
what
means
awkward is.
elegant, like smooth. It's the
Okay,
opposite of
yeah.
awkward. The opposite of
Yeah.
awkward.
If I can, yes, I can distinguish those two. I can. Yeah.
When things happen in the world, do you tend to ascribe it more towards the nature of human beings or towards the nature of systems?
The nature of human beings. What does that even mean?
Well, for example, I might say, look, that'll never work because humans just don't like this or just don't feel that way or whatever.
But
Or I might say, that'll never work because a system like that that's codified is too rigid to account for variations. Which of those are you more likely to say?
I think I would think in systems, but I don't really understand the human. I think that's kind of dogmatic, like because you can define humans by systems, right? And
Okay, well, let me.
it's kinda weird.
I understand that you're saying it's just a semantic distinction, and that's fine. I'm not going to dispute that necessarily. I would argue that there's a real difference. What I'm trying to use this for is try to determine if you're an INFJ or an INTP or potentially. I mean, that's where I'm aiming right now. So I mean, let's draw the typing thing to a close. I want to hear what your questions and your thoughts are more, and have me less talking. So, I'm gonna just go ahead and say INFJ is my guess on you. I think you're an INFJ.
You see, I have this very. You guys were talking the other way about changing types, right? Like, yeah, and you, you know the brain plasticity capacity. Like, the brain is plastic. If you do something a lot, it's gonna like change. Like the brain, you can change the way, like your patterns. Yeah, like you tend to do something, but if you do something else a lot, then you're gonna, like, your subconscious is gonna be easier to do something. Like,
Right.
I think that if you're because you aren't born a certain type, right? You have to grow into that certain. Or are you born with those
Well,
tendencies?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a clear answer to that. I think I have my hypotheses about it. I think you're born with your dominant function,
Your dominant function?
and
Is
therefore you're
that
fourth.
genetic?
I don't know. It could be in utero. It could be something depending on how well or how your mother proceeds with her pregnancy or something like that. I just don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. What makes you think that?
Well, like I said, I don't have any concrete reasons either in terms of uh, empirics, like data in the external world that would suggest one way or the other how it comes
Uh-huh.
about,
It's just
nor in terms of the logical
intuitive?
consistency of the systems themselves, don't suggest to me a clear answer to these questions.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know.
Okay. I think it develops. The thing is, what's my two options would be for this is you're either um reach a certain age and you stop there, like you cannot change your type, or I think perhaps the other option is the majority of people simply don't change their type, like when they're older, because they have tendencies to like live a certain lifestyle and don't like, because the way I think it would work is it would be you could change your type with brain plasticity, in the sense that if you would, for example, you have an individual with a INTP and you're forcing him to do like a lot of work, right? So you imagine he is on work or whatever, and he has to do a lot. It's like there's one here where if he does all of this, he's gonna get a good promotion. I think, and then you would be forced to act as an INTJ, right, or a ENTJ or whatever. And in 1 year or whatever, if he keeps doing and keeps utilizing those functions, I don't have a amazing comprehension of the MBTI and the cognitive functions, whatever.
I think I get what you're
if he-
saying. Let me respond to
Yeah.
what you said so far, which is I think there's a misunderstanding of how cognitive function manifests in this regard. You could behave certainly as a different type. You can in fact learn to recognize and to a certain extent utilize even the unconscious functions. But the reality is, as an ENTP right now, for example, I am learning to behave much more like somebody who's got FE higher in the stack. I'm trying to become more effective at it. I'm trying to become more likable. In fact, I just, in preparing for a conversation that is going to be in a separate video, a different topic, I was reading about this thing called the Hidden Agenda, and there was an audio MP3 link at the bottom of that I listened to, which was all about how to be likable. It was interesting, and I thought to myself, okay, well, this is important. I should listen to this. I should try to do this. This is the first time in my life I've thought to myself, this is something I should explicitly value rather than sort of use to fight against its dictates. So in this regard, I'm trying to manifest an ENTP that behaves in a lot of ways like a different type. But that's an ENTP approach to making that manifestation. And it's necessarily the case because it's about the fact that you have a limited number of hours in the day, and so you're going to prioritize types of thinking at a certain ratio during the time of the day, and certain types of thinking or certain manners of attention or values that you habitually prioritize preclude others. So if you're forever looking for what new possibilities you might make out of what is there, then you're never looking for what simple finished possibilities are already there, right? And so that's like an any NI thing. I've got any as my dominant slot. I'm always looking for possibilities. Now, if I wanted to try to change my type and become NI and try to focus on finding which possibilities are already there, that's certainly something I can do. I can try to develop my NI. But if I try to do it consciously, if I try to have my hands on the reins and force it, it doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work. It's just not how NI works. I have trained my whole life to do this with something, right? And then with NI, you've got to do something else with some other body parts that didn't even know existed, right? And so you have to find a metacognitive way around it. But the thing is, even if you do find a metacognitive way around it, you're still not actually using NI consciously. You're accessing it through some ENTP workaround.
Yeah. The thing, yeah, but I think that if you'd force someone into a condition long enough, wouldn't they, like, let's say that a kid is like 10 years old, right?
Okay.
And uses a certain function. I don't know the functions very well, but you're talking about NE and NI, so I guess I can use that. Uses an NE, and you force him through certain conditions, and he has to use NI. Like, would he change his preference if it took long enough? Like, would it?
Well, I think another way of thinking about it is this: your type is a set of limits imposed upon you. You're talking about ways in which you might be able to forcibly break down those limits, and I think that's possible. But even if you spent all of your time practicing on that thing, you'd be using a wrong tool in some sense. You'd be learning to use a hammer to screw shit in, and would you actually change your type? I mean, that's a question of what exactly is type. See, I think type's a metaphysical entity. If in fact you're descriptively prioritizing this manner of attention over that consistently over time, then you are that type. But if you're doing some sort of internal workaround, then you're some other type. But that's going to be something that's really difficult to ascertain.
I think it would be like hard, but I think in a hypothetical situation where you'd force someone, like, let's say that there would be a world in which there was no way that a certain type could live. Like, it would be very counterintuitive for a certain type to live in the world because of the rules. Like, it's a very hypothetical situation, yes. But I think that in a hypothetical situation, you could have someone switch the type if it took long enough because of brain plasticity. But I'm not sure.
Well, I think such a system would preclude the type from developing in the first place.
Yeah, but if someone were to go to that system after developing its type.
Well, see, this is why you wanted to nail down the issue of developmental arc first, which is smart. I see why you wanted to nail it down, because at the end, the issue dissolves on that point. We're not sure what the developmental arc is. All right, well, this seems like a good ending point for this video. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk with you a lot more, don't worry, but I'm trying to keep these videos at a more of a manageable length for consumption. Thanks for watching very much, and please don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.